In this clip, I'm going to be sharing a quick run through of a book that I was able to pick up in regards to understanding our children's personalities, their personality types, and how to become a better parent in understanding our children. As a single mom of an 8-year-old, I think it is really important to figure out who my child is without asserting your own characteristics to your children, because I am always a huge advocate when raising my daughter and getting her to understand that you are not me, I am not you, you are yourself. You know, although you are an extension of me, you are your own person. And I think stimulating that personhood is very important for children. And as many people know here on my channel, I do stimulate that personhood and that individuality through doll theory and a lot of doll play and just seeing how she perceives herself through those dolls. There are a lot of really negative influences and images that are being placed into our Black children's surroundings that are very detrimental to their personhood. And I think this is a really good book to really look into, to nurture our children and keep them loving themselves and not surrounding themselves with people who do not support who they are at their core. So this book is called Nurture by Nature, and this is by Paul D. Teager and Barbara Barron Teager. And this one is Understand Your Child's Personality Type and Become a Better Parent. So I'm just going to kind of go through the table of contents, what's going to be discussed in here. So it states here on the back, I'm just going to read this short sentence here. This groundbreaking guide shows you how to harness the power of personality type to develop the parenting strategies that work best with your child. And I have done a lot of work with the Love and Logic platform for parents, and I really love how that has gauged my parenting style in not being someone who is a disciplinarian parent who believes in physicality and restructuring a child forcefully. I have noticed the differences in treating my daughter as a person, giving her the opportunity to speak to why she's behaving the way she is, what she's feeling, and what she has perceived to be either as unfair or as whatever their character understands their situations to be. So I think this is also a really good guide when looking into how can we figure out who our children are. And I love how they have some inserts here. This one is by the Prophet Khalil Gibran, and it states here, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies and but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. So this is the table of contents here. It's got a part 1, part 2, and then there's the bibliography and resources section. So this is going to talk about matter of style. And I love this one in particular because my daughter is definitely very individualized. She has her own sense of fashion. She has always been one to fashion herself in different ways, whether it was dressing up with blankets, making dresses out of fabrics. Really asserting her own sense of style is something that I have instilled in her to be an individual. And especially with the world that we have today, with the wide openness of adultification in fashion styles, I love that my daughter has been able to understand modesty in that sense and incorporate that modesty into her fashion sense. So I think a matter of style is a very good point to look at when it comes to developing your child. This one's going to talk about mirror, mirror, verifying profiles for parents and children. Really understanding, in depth what your child expresses, who they are, how they, compute as a tiny little computer. How do they compute what they're seeing, and not maybe having the verbal vocabulary yet at a young age to really explain to you what they feel about certain things or people. So I really love gauging conversations with my daughter just to understand how she feels about, someone makes her feel bad, or understanding what racism looks like, what, toxic girl behaviors look like, and what, safe, friendships are when it comes to boys, and safe spaces. So I love that this book is really just going to go in and really gauge your intellect as a parent into who your child is, and learning how not to be one of those overbearing parents who, asserts your own childhood into how you raise your child. A lot of people are raising children with this, ideology that I was raised this way. My grandparents beat me when I was a child, so this is why I am the way I am. And then they filter that into your grandchildren's lives or their children's lives. And I think it's a very vicious cycle that a lot of people don't recognize that they are in. And I feel like it's really important, especially being a millennial, having these different resources to really figure out who we want to be and who we want our children to be is very important. So this is what the first part is going to look like. I love this here, being accepted for who you are, the key to real self-esteem. I definitely do a lot of, like I said, self-actualization practices through dolls, and really inspiring her and esteeming her to love herself regardless of what others may say. So this is going to be something really good. I will be studying and going through and just really gauging, who my child is, and understanding who they are, and, putting aside your own childhoods and your theories of things being hereditary and passing down, when that's really not how things work. Things are passed down through, emotion and anger and fear. And I feel like really learning who your child is, you'll definitely get to see their individualized personalities come through, and I love being able to experience that with my daughter. And I love this part here, thinking and feeling, understanding, being tough-minded or tender-hearted, understanding the differences. When a lot of people, kind of try to take emotion out of things, emotion is not just leading yourself by, sunshiny rainbow feelings. Emotions are anger. Emotions are resentment. Emotions are deeper than just thinking that everything is just feels good, feels nice at surface level. So this really goes into what is thinking and what is feeling. Are you, as a thinking mind, are you the most convinced by logic? As a feeling mind, are you most convinced by how, another person feels or how you feel? How can you keep a balance between the feeling mind and the thinking mind? And I think it's really good, especially as someone who has been very much into critical thinking and raising a critical thinker. I think this is a really good way to gauge their thinking capabilities and really nurture them to be good human beings in the world today. I feel like there's just such a huge lack of understanding who our children are without trying to create them to be something in the society that is completely outside of the streams of childhood. So I definitely will be getting into this book, and I will be sharing more and kind of just sharing how these things have played into my child's life personally. And yeah, if anyone is looking for resources, as a single mom especially, I think it's really important for us to have all the resources we can to understand our children, and trying to, limit the amount of pushback that we have from our children due to being single moms and having this heavy load, and making sure that we keep them connected to us. So I definitely would recommend this book for anyone who is looking for a more simplistic way of approaching parenting.